Hi, everyone, and welcome to Workshop. This is a series where I take songs that people have submitted to me just for basic thoughts on maybe how to improve it. The first thing I wanted to put out right away, since this is the first episode, is that this is not a declarative thing. I'm not saying that this is the correct way to update a song or to make a song quote unquote better. I just wanted to offer my opinion because somebody asked for it, and this is actually something that I've wanted to do for many years now. So the first song that was given to me by Carl's or Crochar on Twitch. I talked to him very briefly during a 2-hour track challenge, and he approached me and was like, "Hey, do you mind looking at this song? And if you want to make a video out of it, that's cool." And I had wanted to start doing this for a while, so it worked out great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play through the song, and then I'm going to offer some thoughts. So here we go. And then it loops. Okay, so my first thought is this is actually very good, but I feel like it's very flat. And there's a couple things that you can do with this to fix that. First of all, everything is very, very strictly set on the rhythm, which I understand there's kind of like a militaristic vibe to that. By the way, this song is called A Door to Hell. His description, let me see if I can find his description real quick. You see a massive door and it opens slowly. Yeah, so it's like the final boss, like the entrance to a final boss. So I can totally see where he's coming from with that, where he wants to like build up tension, and I think that that's super cool. But I also feel that there's a lot of points in here where it's just very strictly on the rows, all the way down. And I mean, you could work to update that just a little bit by adding some of these like little flares to, you know, bring back some of the some tension and some not even polyrhythmic stuff, but just more stuff happening. The other thing, and this is more of an issue with Famitracker, is the fact that this triangle channel is just omnipresent. I have a feeling that if you kind of broke it apart like this a little bit, so there's a little bit of a breath, I think that could work really well. So let's listen to this now. So I think that's a decent start. Let's see what happens when you switch these to like a snare, and then bring it up. Oh, maybe not that high. Nah, I was wrong. So like. Working on adding, it doesn't have to be very overt, but I feel like adding like another couple layers of either rhythm, or you could the other thing you could do is maybe take this second lead part over here and then add some really quiet stuff in the background. Oops. So it's just like take this and like make it really far in the background, and I don't know if that would work. So and again, like I'm not saying that you need to add more layers. Like having that that tension buildup is definitely something that is good and necessary. But yeah, go like this. But also adding like a little bit of a melodic element might help too. Yeah. So that's kind of my thought on the beginning here, and then this is just kind of a repeat. And just kind of maybe even sacrificing one of these kicks for like a noise swell, just if you take your basic instrument and just like just like have some of these, just have some kind of more noisy stuff come in, or maybe add a little bit more melodic stuff, because you do start adding melodic stuff here in this pulse channel. Which is great. And then you do a key change, which is also great. I really love that key change. But you could also work to do something like this, and and not screw it up. But you know what I mean. So instead of having stuff locked directly on the rhythm, the other thing you can do is work with some vibrato stuff. So what's great about FamiTracker, and kind of the rule of thumb for me, is if a lead melody is staying playing, if it's playing for more than, I would say, 2 beats, then I would toss in a light vibrato, because I think that helps create a little bit more energy and tension. And one of the problems with using raw waveforms like FamiTracker does, like you're using just a raw pulse wave, one of the problems is that it gets very boring to the listener over time, which is the other reason why I was suggesting doing that kind of stuff too, adding little breaks in the triangle, because that's just so like omnipresent. It's always there. Another thing you could do is just do some pitch bend stuff. Oops. Oh, that's right. I haven't used FamiTracker in a couple weeks. And just add a couple, and that works pretty well too. Especially when you're doing a large jump like this, because you're jumping up an octave from A2 to A3. One of the things you could do is help accentuate that jump by doing a pitch bend and, adding the vibrato. And then maybe a little break here. So, well, not like that. It would probably be like a fade out. But you know what I mean. It's all just kind of a process of. I really like this key change right here, and I also like how you kind of build up right here into the change. But again, it could be beneficial to have a little bit more of a lead in for that, rather than just kind of rolling right into it. You do get some nice syncopation stuff right here where you're starting to bounce between melodies, but it might be beneficial to use this extra sawtooth channel over here. I think that, you have all these channels, you might as well try to use them. And that doesn't mean that you have to, but if you want to experiment with more layers, that's the great thing about having the limitation, is like you only have so many layers. So you can experiment with them and just find out, well, this isn't something I need, or this is something that I need, and then you can go from there. So again, you could go back to the I must have deleted it, but that little arpeggio that I put up before, you can try to like reintroduce it here with a sawtooth with a different sounding instrument, and see if anything flies with that. I think that might turn out pretty cool. And I don't know if you're still working on the song. I know right now it kind of loops back into the beginning, and it does sound good when it loops. Like it sounds intentional when it loops back to the beginning. So that's good. But yeah, like I think that this is a solid song so far, and there's a lot of possibilities for adding more things to it. I think the biggest thing is to just add a little bit more rhythmic flair to it. And it doesn't have to be obvious, but it does have to be there, because just like what I was saying with the Famitracker instruments sounding very flat over time because there's no variation with them because it's a raw waveform. The same thing happens with the rhythm. If you're just doing everything on the beat, it's going to sound kind of dull, and you want that subtle polyrhythmic stuff, that subtle syncopation to raise tensions, especially for in the description you gave me of the songs. You want to start raising tension, and I think that you have a good start, and there's a lot of great potential here. So yeah, that's the first episode of Workshop. If you have a song that you're working on that you want to maybe have me look at and show on a recurring series here, I would love for this to be a recurring series. Just shoot me an email at abstraction@abstractionmusic.com. It does not have to be Famitracker. I have Ableton and FL Studio. If you want to just send me a MP3 file and I can just kind of talk about it from there, I would be more than happy to do that as well. Initially, my thoughts for the extended play series was to be something like this, where I would be playing through an album and I would offer commentary halfway through, like during a song, and I'd be like, "Oh, I like that part. That's like a really cool key change or something." But I like where extended play is right now, where it's basically just like, this is an album that I think is rad. So I want to start doing this, but I also need your help with music submissions. So if you are working on a song that you would like for me to look at, and I am by no means an expert, but I have opinions, and yeah, so that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.